The new Suzuki GSX-S1000GX on test. How well does the new crossover spot to a ride? During an extensive test on roads, we gathered intensive experience with the new Suzuki GX. Often comfortable motorcycles with sufficient suspension travel are bulky creatures. But Suzuki has done a good job. The pleasing design combined with the phenomenal engine and the long list of modern features set very high expectations. Let's go to chapter 1, the engine. So here we have it, the powerful 999 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled 4-cylinder. A true colossus of engineering. This machine unleashes a veritable storm on the road with 152 HP at 11,000 RPM and a torque of 106 Nm at 9,250 RPM. Despite this brute force, it remains as tame as a well-trained beast thanks to electronic throttle control and the ride-by-wire system. Suzuki clearly adhered to the old adage, never change a running system. And why should they? The K5 inline 4-cylinder is already a legend among connoisseurs. A perfectly balanced, sporty powerhouse that has been thrilling the hearts of motorcyclists for years. With a fuel consumption, Suzuki told us 6.2 liters per 100 km and compliance with the strict Euro 5 emission standard, this engine also demonstrates that performance and efficiency need not be contradictory. The engine of the GSX-S1000GX is a direct carryover from its sister models. In the saddle, the engine was once again completely convincing. The responsive of the throttle was very good for me in the B and C riding modes. In the A, for me it was too direct for my taste, even for a sporty motorcycle. The engine offers a wonderfully linear torque curve and revs up really lively. Surprisingly, the engine feels comfortable in almost any RPM range. You can ride at 70 k's in any gear and it always feels right. Sometimes it almost feels like the gear shift is superfluous because the engine is incredibly lazy to shift. You get the feeling that the engine provides power very easily and it's actually over-dimensioned. This ensures that you can ride calmly and relaxed, but also you can enjoy sporty riding. The engine never feels strained and you never feel pushed. The engine is a really well-made heart of this motorcycle. However, if you rarely shift gears, you rarely get to enjoy the smooth gearbox with the great quick shifter with blipper function. Here too, Suzuki offers top quality, both in terms of electronics and mechanics. Noise level, vibrations, haptics and visual impressions are first class. This engine is made to last. Let's go to chapter 3, electronic suspension. The Suzuki GX marks a milestone in Suzuki's model program with the manufacturer's first semi-active suspension. The name? Suzuki Advanced Electronic Suspension, based on the renowned Showa EERA technology. This uses information from all relevant sensors in the vehicle to constantly offer the best possible suspension setting in live operation. Both the fork and the shock absorber have dynamically adjustable damping to suit the riding situation. And one electronic suspension alone, of course, makes little sense. It is always part of a whole system with various electronic riding aids. The sensors on the Suzuki also recognize loading situation that automatically adjust the suspension. The Suzuki suspension system fundamentally offers the 3 suspension settings: hard, medium and soft, and also adjusts the suspension to the actual speed. The Suzuki deceleration damping control measures the G-forces during braking maneuvers and adjusts the damping accordingly. In practice, this reduces the diving in when braking. On the other hand, the vehicle remains pleasantly stable at higher speeds despite the 150mm suspension travel. Another exciting feature is the newly developed Suzuki floating ride control. This system uses the IMU to stabilize the position of the motorcycle in relation to a fixture point above the vehicle. The goal is to minimize vertical movements of the vehicle. The semi-active suspension is continuously adjusted to achieve this. On smooth surfaces, the system modulates its activity to allow a more direct feel and to avoid excessive damping between ride and road. On rougher surfaces, however, the system allows more freedom of movement to prevent a too isolated feeling from the road. In general, the electronic suspension and the rest of the electronics were very accessible. As soon as you sit on the motorcycle, you first leave the loading control on the display on automatic, and then you choose A for sporty, B for medium, and C for comfortable riding style according to your preferences. The entire motorcycle is then automatically retuned, so traction control, ABS, ride-per-wire characteristics, and also the suspension. Manual adjustments can be made, but in practice you enjoy the compact control unit and the super easy setup. Suzuki probably didn't make the tuning work easy for themselves. The system gives a very harmonious impression. It comes very close to the riding feel of a conventional suspension, but the range in which it works is really huge. First, the motorcycle recognizes the current weight of the load using the suspension travel sensor, and this allows the electronics to correctly set the spring preload. On the other hand, the damping is adjusted gently but sensibly on an ongoing basis, and in the saddle you enjoy a high level of riding comfort and great precision during sporty riding. At high speeds, the stability was very good. Overall, then great marks for the entire system. But it should be mentioned that the traction control, including wheelie control, is set up quite conservatively. Therefore, in tricky situations, not all of the power from the engine is really present at the rear wheel. And as a lover of mechanically well-made motorcycles, you get a good impression of the suspension, but experienced pilots might feel a bit restrained in certain situations by the electronic rider aids. Especially the wheelie control intervenes very early in acceleration maneuvers and holds the GX back a bit. On the other hand, the original tires are unfortunately very stable. The motorcycle understeers noticeably with the Dunlop's Road Sport 2. When leaning in, you always have to push a bit to keep the bike in a lean. Here the Suzuki engineers were a bit too cautious, because for the original equipment of the GX a special specification was mounted, and in this decision safety and stability were probably the focus. A sportier tire will certainly do a good job on the bike. Let's go to chapter 4. Let's talk about comfort, travel and ergonomics. The Suzuki GX is equipped for long distance rides with various amenities. The 19-liter tank lasts for over 320 kilometers. For wind and weather protection, there is an adjustable windshield that can be mounted on 3 different positions, complemented by standard hand protectors. An aluminium luggage rack with integrated handles for the pillion is also present. The saddle of the GX is 50mm thicker compared to the GT model, while the pillion seat is 10mm thicker and 26mm wider. The motorcycle is fully equipped with LED lighting elements, which provide better visibility. The The Suzuki GSX-S1000GX has a seat height of 845mm and a ground clearance of 155mm. The maximum payload is 198 kilograms. The riding position was very good, and for me during the test, I really enjoyed the time in the saddle. Whereby the upper body feels very touristic, the knee angle was a bit compact for a touring motorcycle. I'm 185 centimeters tall or have very long legs, might find the knee angle too sporty. The standard seat was quite nice, and in the saddle, on the handlebars, on the footrest, there were hardly any disturbing vibrations. The engine was felt slightly tingling in the handlebars and above 5000 RPM. You feel really comfortable in the saddle and can fully concentrate on the curves. The wind protection was good, but there are other motorcycles in this class that offer wider windshields. The windshield is not adjustable while riding, however, the shield can be mounted in 3 different positions. The standard handguards fit well into the overall experience and offer great protection for hand and forearms. All controls are easy to reach and accessible in handling. Only the operation of the cruise control is a bit unusual and requires both hands. The cruise control is activated on the right handlebar with a button press. Afterwards, the cruise control is operated on the left handlebar with a rocker switch. The standard seat was good, but better is always possible. This was impressively demonstrated by the premium seat from the accessory program. Business-savvy Suzuki dealers ideally equip their demo motorcycles with the saddle right away. After a test ride, probably no one would want to do it without it. Chapter 5. Electronics. Suzukis have long been known as mechanically well-made motorcycles without a complex electronic system. The new GX is top modern equipped. The Suzuki Drive Model Selector Alpha offers a choice of 3 riding modes. The active damping control has 4 electronic adjustment options. The Suzuki Floating Ride Control adjusts the riding behavior to road unevenness. The Suzuki Road Adaptive Stabilization automatically detects uneven surfaces and adjusts damping and throttle response accordingly. The Suzuki Advanced Electronic Suspension adjusts the preload of the shock absorber depending on the load. The Suzuki Velocity Dependent Control optimizes this electronic suspension according to the current riding speed. The Suzuki Deceleration Damping Control regulates the damping during braking maneuvers. And the Smart Cruise Control allows also gear changes without interrupting the cruise control. The gear shifter with flipper function allows for clutchless shifting, and the motion track brake system aids in riding in curves, while the slope-dependent control stabilizes during downhill braking and prevents the rear wheel from lifting off. This is complemented by a ride-by-wire system, the Suzuki Easy Start system and the low RPM assist. The names of Suzuki systems may seem a bit confusing at first glance. However, at the end of the day, we are talking about a fully fledged system with a 6-axis IMU. Both traction control and ABS are lean angle dependent. Wheelie control and rear wheel lift-off detection are also on board. Compared to the GT, the GX incorporates the mentioned 6-axis IMU, and the traction control now offers a wider range of settings. The wheelie control is overall very safe and conservatively tuned, whereas the traction control is also made for reckless maneuvers. However, the systems are very harmoniously integrated into the vehicle. It's probably due to the compact information in the display, the simple switch unit, that you don't really think about the electronics while in the saddle. You just ride and the systems do a calm and good job. The entire package is very mature, high quality, and presents itself as a congenial partner to the high-quality drive unit. Compared to even more expensive motorcycles, only the adaptive cruise control and hill start assist are missing. Chapter 5. Mobile phone integration. The navigation with the help of the Suzuki MySpin app, the mobile phone can be paired with the vehicle and map navigation can be mirrored into the display. Let's start with the good news. The installation of the app and pairing with the motorcycle work surprisingly well. This has not been the case with any other motorcycle with comparable systems. Operating the phone from the handlebars works quite well overall. However, don't expect too much from the included navigation function. It's not a full-fledged solution. I tried iOS, and for iOS the system relies on Apple Maps, and you can use the software to get from A to B in exceptional cases, but calling the system a navigation solution would be an exaggeration. Therefore, it didn't surprise me that only one of the 17 Japanese technicians mentioned the system in passing. They are probably not completely satisfied with the solution provided by Bosch. It should be noted that the map information is sent from the phone to the motorcycle via Wi-Fi, which consumes a lot of power. You can use different apps inside the systems, but all have the same problem. Your phone always has to be on, and it gets warm, and it doesn't feel like a practical solution. In the end, touring riders will mount a full-fledged navigation system or the phone on the motorcycle. But there are good and bad news here too. There is a USB port near to the cockpit. However, mounting an additional device could be tricky. There is no suitable space above the 6.5-inch screen, and if mounted on the handlebars, the navigation system sits uncomfortably low and makes it impossible to use a tank-mounted bag. Suzuki also offers not really a nice solution for that in their accessories. Chapter 7. The brakes. Now let's talk about conventional hardware. The Suzuki GSX-S1000GX has a ready-to-ride weight of 232 kilograms. This is controlled by radially mounted Brembo monoblock brakes, equipped at the front with two 310mm discs and a 4-piston caliper. Standard are Dunlop Sport Max Road Sport 2 tires mounted on the 6-spoke aluminum wheels sized 120/70/70 and the front and 190/50/17 at the rear. It seems to be clear that Suzuki makes no compromises with the brakes. The 310mm discs may not decelerate brutally, but the braking performance is very good and pleasantly modulable. The ABS setup is rather cautious, and overall stability is very important to Suzuki. Therefore, I was not able to put the motorcycle in any distress during the test. In practice, both the front and the rear brakes have their purpose. In tricky sections with little grip, I also used a well-modulated rear brake for very sensitive braking maneuvers. On many other motorcycles, I only use the front brake and manage the rest with the engine braking. But the Suzuki, despite its extensive electronics, gives a very familiar impression. You like to use the front brakes, engine brake and rear brake in combination. Everything responds cleanly and properly and can be wonderfully modulated. Chapter 8. Experiences and notes from the test. The machine impresses in practice with its high quality. All plastic parts, attachments, switches and all elements of the motorcycles are simply made to a high standard. It's surprising that the motorcycle weighs only 233 kilograms. Everything seems solid, robust and significantly oversized. Of course, the frame and swing arm are made of aluminium and therefore light despite their gigantic dimensions. But all the elements of the motorcycle seem as if the topic of durability was more important than cost and weight. Therefore, the motorcycle will make those riders happy who like to use their bikes for a long and intensive time. The luggage set from the accessory program fits well into the picture. Even on other Japanese manufacturers, the hinges on the cases are fiddly and cheap, and on the Suzuki, the quality is fine. The case is open and close wonderfully precisely and can easily carry a system helmet in size L. However, the ignition key is required every time to open the panniers. I bet I can guess the production location of a motorcycle after a short test ride. In the case of the GX, it was immediately clear to me that this machine was produced in Japan. Suzuki is certainly a rather conservative manufacturer that sometimes needs too much time for new models. But when the machine comes out of the factory, they don't deliver anything half-finished. You can feel the pride and ambition of the engineers, technicians and workers when you use the finished product. Chapter 10. Comparisons. Let's compare the Suzuki GSX-S1000GX with the Kawasaki Versys 1000, the Tracer 9 GT from Yamaha and the S1000XR from BMW. All 4 motorcycles mentioned offer an upright riding position, great seating comfort, sporty performance and extensive electronic equipment, including electronic suspension. In case of the Tracer, the Plus version. The Suzuki is extremely well positioned with its 152 horsepower. In the 1000 PS motorcycle marketplace, it's currently offered at the same price level like the Kawasaki Versys 1000 SE. The Kawasaki offers more wind protection and cornering lights, but is 30 horsepower less and is significantly heavier. Compared to the BMW S1000XR, the Suzuki scores with its more attractive price. However, the BMW offers 15 horsepower more, also has a cornering light, and BMW offers significantly more customization options. The Yamaha is slightly cheaper, but also significantly weaker. In summary, although the Suzuki is not a cheap motorcycle, it offers the most attractive to price performance ratio overall from a pragmatic point of view. However, it should be noted that the heated grips are not included as standard. This brings a fully equipped Suzuki dangerously close to the price of a simply equipped BMW S1000XR. Normally I don't think about design because there is hardly any other topic I know so little about, but I like the bike. I like all 3 color variants and I also like the front of the bike. And this is probably because the designer Kazutaka Ogawa has already designed the legendary Hayabusa, the legendary GSX-R 1000 and also the mighty GSX-R logo at Suzuki. The man is exactly on my wavelength. Of course, the engine is also legendary. It has been sold 180,000 times in various stages of development. With the help of the GX, it will probably soon reach 200,000. Thank you very much for your attention. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you, goodbye.